In the words of Michael Jordan, I'm back. I think I'm probably more like the podcasting version of Who's His Son that sucked in college and never even sniffed the NBA. That's probably the podcast version of what I am. But either way, it is good to be back. Had a little vacation. My kid got sick. My wife got sick. I got sick. So we're through to the other side. Spooney Show's back. So I don't think I'll be as regular during the playoffs just because we're probably going to prioritize the main pod, be a little more reactionary to the games. This show's not really that. So it will come back in full force in the off season for sure. I got a lot of stuff I want to do in the off season, but until then, it's probably just going to be a here or there thing as I feel fit when I have some takes that Jay will not let me get off on the normal show. Okay, today. Here's what I'm talking about. The anatomy of a title contender. Does the Celtics statistical profile look anything like other title contenders? Or really, I've only looked at title winners in the past. So here's what I'll say. A lot of these past title winners have been the Warriors. We don't really look anything like the Warriors from top to bottom, okay? So here's what all these teams have in common. Top 3 defenses, or rather top 5 defenses, and their main scorer, give or take, probably their best player, depends on who you ask, at least their best offensive player, is a wing, a big wing, okay? So I'm going to walk through each of these teams, just describe to you who they are, except for one mystery team that I will reveal at the end. Give you their win-loss, their offense, defensive rating, their net rating, their win-loss after January 1st, because I think the Celtics they did not fit the profile of a title contender in the first half of the season. The second half of the season, they obviously do. They're first in offense and defense. And I think on total, on balance, they do probably still meet that, but I just wanted to see, is the Celtics' insane second half record like an anomaly, or were these other teams similarly great in the second half and rolled that into the playoffs? Okay, let's keep it moving here. Starting us off, the first team I want to look at is a hated team. They think we're rivals, but we don't. And that's the 18-19 Kawhi Leonard Raptors, very deep team. They went 58-24, third best offense in the league, and it makes sense. They got Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Siakam, Kawhi, old Marc Gasol playing defense and just keeping the offense together. That's a really good Norm Powell. That was a really, really good loaded team. They went 58-24. Again, third best offense, fifth best defense too, so top 5 in both. Third best net rating. And after January 1st, they went 31-13. So pretty good. Pretty good, but they were good basically the entire season. But they weren't super over 500 going into January 1. It was really the second half of the season where they're 18 games over 500 and finished way over 500, similar to us. Okay, so that is the first team we were going to compare this year's Celtics to. The second team, I'm sorry, but it makes a lot of sense. The 1920 Lakers. So obviously we didn't have a full season that year, but they would have gone 60-22, which is pretty good. That was their winning percentage. 11th in offense, which is starting to look more like the Celtics. Third in defense. I think that's partially just like the LeBron's lazy effect. I mean, when they needed to turn it on, I think that was the best defensive team in the league that year. But you know how LeBron is, man. He doesn't try. He's such a... Anyway, I'm going to try to keep it neutral with LeBron. It is not going to work, but I will do my best. Anyway, fifth in net rating. Great team. Their after January 1 record, I did not include because the season stopped in March. And we all know this Lakers team was bubble fraud, so That stat just does not exist for them, unfortunately. But pretty similarly built. Well, AD is kind of an anomaly. I think Rob has a similar effect on defense as AD. We get his offense from different spots, but this 1920 Lakers team was similar to the Celtics in that they were two stars surrounded by role players that perfectly complemented them. They got some added scoring from Kuzma, KCP, just catch and shoot, play defense. Schroeder. Actually, they didn't have Schroeder, I do not believe. But, goofy team kind of, but LeBron, AD, good solid role players all around them. Good team. Very good team. Okay. The last team that I will reveal at the end. We're going to refer to them as the mystery team. This team is really good. Actually, this team fits us like a glove in a lot of ways. So, 66-16, offensive rating of 11th, defensive rating of 1st. Sound familiar? Huh? Net rating, 1st as well. Pretty good, pretty good. Okay. After January 1, they were gangbusters, 40-13. That's pretty damn good. Again, like I said, their leading scorer was a small forward. Their second leading scorer was a shooting guard. They had an older big man that was elite defensively. Other guys on the team that were elite defensively. They played kind of a clunky style of offense, but this team was a defensive monster. And they scored enough. And again, all three of these won the title. So I'm just going to break down real quick. You know the Celtics, but here, I'll give you our stats, how we ended the year. Pretty good. Pretty good. 51-31, given where we were. We all know where we were. That's an incredible record. 9th in offensive rating, which is nutso. We were like 20-something, I think, at January 1, but we're 9th. Defensive rating, 1st. Net rating, ended up 2nd. And then after January 1, we're right in line with 34-12. It's pretty in line with that Raptors team, who was 31-13. Obviously, the Lakers were bubble frauds. I cannot stress that enough. Bubble frauds. And then the mystery team, 40-13. So they just played more games. COVID has screwed up the scheduling, so it's not the perfect fit. And obviously the Celtics had a couple rest games and goofiness, and obviously our whole team's unvaccinated, so they didn't play in Toronto. Go to hell, Mannix. Unless you want to come on the show, in which case, what's up, dude? Hope you're doing well. All right, so how I'm going to break this down. What I'm going to try to do, first of all, I'm not using raw numbers. So the mystery team is from the mid-2000s. League was very different. The Lakers, bubble year, goofy. Offense was way up in the bubble. Their season stopped in the middle. 18-19 Raps. That's probably a more comparable season to what we got this year. I didn't use last year. Champs, we don't really look like that Milwaukee team kind of cruised in the regular season a little bit. Their defense was not great, but they turned it up in the playoffs, so they weren't a perfect fit for what I'm doing. Offense was way up last year. It's kind of down there. I don't know. To me, it just made a lot more sense to say, where do they rank amongst the league in these stats? So that's what I did. So I'm looking more stylistically, right? Do the things the Celtics do well look like what these other champions did well? And if there's things they're not very good at, is that okay? Because these other teams weren't very good at them either. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish here. We'll see if it actually works. But let's get it underway here. Okay, offensively. So the first two stats, I basically reference them every show. Effective field goal percentage and true shooting. And all of these teams are top 10 in both. That 18-19 Raptors team, again, this is a loaded team. Look back at that roster. I mean, they were low. I hate the Raptors, but one of the best coaches in the league, as much as it makes me want to puke in my mouth to say that. And just top to bottom, both sides, two-way players up and down the roster. They were third in effective field goal percentage, fourth in true shooting. That 1920 Lakers, which was more defensive focused, still fifth in effective field goal percentage, ninth in true shooting. So, and one thing I'll say quickly is effective field goal percentage does not care about free throws. It's just about how you shoot from the field. True shooting percentage factors in free throws. So you'll see a big gap between the Lakers. That team must not have gotten to the line. So they were shooting well from the floor, just did not get to the line much. Again, I think that's partially just the LeBron lazy coast factor bubble frauds. The mystery team, fifth in both. That team got to the line. Okay. Fifth in effective, fifth in true shooting. And the Celtics, ninth in both. So Celtics, again, getting to the line, sort of a normal amount for how many shots they're taking, right? Their true shooting doesn't drop off a cliff. The efficiency is the same when you factor in free throws. So everybody's top 10. The mystery team and the Raps, top 5 in both. Lakers, fifth in effective field goal percentage. I mean, the Celtics are way up there if we just look at the second half of the season. But even with the disastrous start, even with Tatum not being able to throw it into an ocean, even with guys missing time because of COVID, which the mystery team and the 18-19 Raptors didn't have to deal with, they're ninth in both, top 10 in both. I think that compares pretty favorably to these other title contenders. Obviously, it's worse, but I don't think it's out of the realm of like, count us out, we can't shoot, it's over. Okay, these two numbers correlate. It's percentage of your field goal attempts that you take from 2 and from 3. Right, so obviously, if your percentage of 3s is high, you can't possibly take more 2s, so these will even out nicely. There's one outlier here, and it's the Lakers. So the other 3 are like almost dead bang. It's actually kind of eerie. Some of these numbers, it's weird how close some of these are, seriously. So the Raps, 21st in the number of 2s or percentage of their field goal attempts that are 2s, 10th in 3s. Lakers, flip it. 8th in 2s, so they take a lot of 2s. 23rd in 3s. Again, the Lakers are built a little different than these other teams. Our two best players are wings. The mystery team's two highest scorers were wings, guard, wing. And the Raps, they just had shooting. I'm surprised they took that small amount of 3s with all the shooting that team had. Even Gasol kind of could shoot it by then. So I'm surprised they probably should have shot more 3s, frankly. And maybe they would have beat the healthy Warriors instead of that hobbled version. But nonetheless, I digress. Anyway, so Raps, 21st, 10th. Lakers, 23rd, 15th. Mystery team, basically dead bang on the Raptors, 22nd in 2s, percent of 2s, 9th in percent of 3s. So they're taking an above average number of 3s. And our beloved Boston Celtics of this year, 23rd in number of 2s, 8th in the percent of our field goals that are 3s. So the Raps, mystery team, and the Celtics are all right. It's like identical almost as far as how they compare to the rest of the league for their shot mix. Pretty interesting, right? That's pretty weird. Assist percentage, also pretty crazy how close all of these are. One outlier, it's the mystery team. They're 7th. So they move the ball. They get more assists than these other teams on balance through the totality of the season. We know the Celtics have been assisting the shit out of the ball. Everybody's getting assists. They're like Oprah out there tossing dimes to everybody. But full season sample size, we are not top 10, right? So the mystery team 7th. The other 3, again, this is weird. 14th for the Raps, 15th, that's a hard word apparently, 15th for the Lakers, and 14th for the Celtics our Celtics this year. Kind of wild, right? 14th, 15th, 14th, and then the mystery team's the somewhat outlier 7th, which isn't that crazy. That's not that far off. And then assist to turnover ratio, pretty close too. These teams all take care of the ball. Actually, the Celtics are the best. They take care of the ball better than these other teams, but not by a huge margin. The mystery team's assisting a lot. They're also throwing it all over the gym a little bit. They're 18th. The Raps 13th in assist to turnover percentage, right? Ratio. So the Lakers 14th. So dead middle of the road. You don't need to never turn the ball over. Apparently, that is not a prerequisite. Nor is having a lot of assists, frankly, apparently. So again, the Raps 14th in assist percentage, 13th in assist to turnover. The Lakers 15th in assist percentage, 14th in assist to turnover. Isn't that weird? Like, these teams are a year apart. These are different seasons, and they're this. I don't know. That's just strange to me. And then the mystery team, little better with assists, little worse with assist to turnover. 7th, 18th. So they just passed a little more, or got their pockets picked a little more. I don't know. And then the Celtics, 14th this year in assist percentage, 11th in assist to turnover ratio. So again, there's 3 that are like the same, and then 1 kind of outlier. It's weird. So this is where stuff gets kind of a little bit all over the place. Okay, I will say this: this year's Celtics are the lone outlier in one of these. So we're gonna look at percentage of your points you get off fast breaks and percentage of your points off of turnovers. All right, so then 18-19 Raps got a lot of fast break points. So actually, my preconception of fast break points is that you do not get them in the playoffs, and that if you're overly reliant on them, you're probably not going to be a very good playoff offense. The Raps were 4th in percentage of their points they get off fast breaks, and the 1920 Lakers were 2nd, which seems crazy because they have old LeBron and AD, who's not like screaming up and down the floor, but we'll get to steals and blocks, and they rate very highly off those. And you can probably see if you're watching on YouTube. If you're not, they're 3rd in points off turnovers. So this is not like a pull it out of the basket, get down, Mike D'Antoni style offense. This is they turn people over and they get out and run. Bubble frauds. So again, points off fast breaks. That's what we're looking for. Raps are 4th. Lakers were 2nd. Mystery team was 19th. So snail's pace, but not nearly as snail's pace as our Celtics. 25th in fast percentage of our points that we get in fast breaks, which is crazy with 2 young wings and Smart, who's always looking to kick it ahead, and Rob Williams. Al's kind of clunky, but nonetheless, 25th in point percentage of our points that we get off fast breaks. But hey, it is what it is. So we're pretty close to the mystery team in that. And the mystery team is the only other team with the number 1 defense as well. Remember, the Lakers were, I think, 3rd, and the Raps were 5th. So it just seems like, well, not quite. Here we go. Percentage of points off turnovers. The Raps were 10th, top 10. Lakers were 3rd. So again, that goes, they're turning people over. That's how they're fast breaking, right? They're not exactly ripping up and down the court when you least suspect, or even off of rebounds. Mystery team was 1st. So they never, ever ran off of a defensive rebound. Ever. Because they're 19th in percentage of points on fast break. So they're not breaking off a rebound. They're only breaking off a turnover. And they always did it. And they were apparently elite at it because they were 1st in points off turnover. Celtics are 16th. So this is where we're really the outlier here. We're dead last in percentage of points off of fast breaks. And we're dead last amongst these 3 teams. Or 4 teams, rather. In percentage of points off turnovers. So I would say my preconception is that you do not need to be a great fast break team to win in the playoffs, but maybe you either need to score off turnovers super efficiently and or be a good fast break team. I don't know. I guess we'll find out, and I hope it's not like 0-2 Brooklyn, Brooklyn up 2 by the time you listen to this, but hopefully we get it out, or hopefully it's 2-0 and I look like a genius. But that's like that is the one thing that I think really jumps out to me about the Celtics in comparison to these three other teams, is that we are just not getting easy points. And again, maybe that's good in playoff basketball, or maybe it's not, because they're hard. The easy points are harder to come by, so you need them that much more desperately. I don't know. It's interesting. Something we should all watch as we watch these games play out. So yeah, we just have this two-team dichotomy where like the Raps and the Lakers are getting all these points off the fast break, and the mystery team and the Celtics are just not doing it. They're just not that smooth. But you know what is smooth? My balls. Thanks to Manscaped. Support for the Celtics Reddit podcast and Spooney Celtics show is brought to you by Manscaped, who's the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer I've got for you. 20% off, free worldwide shipping with this code CRPOD at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, 4 million men means about 8 million balls. So, I've already talked about how I've used this. Manscaped sent us the Performance Package. It's awesome. Look, we're the Celtics Reddit podcast. If there's one thing we hate, it's Knicks, the basketball team, and when we're shaving ourselves down below. And with the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, and the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, the boxer briefs, and a sweet travel bag, you're sure to hopefully avoid those nicks. At least I have so far. That's my experience. I cannot guarantee that you will, but, be careful down there as always. But the Lawnmower 4.0, the trimmer that is the future of grooming, and dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer ever created. They're the 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. It's got a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents, those nicks that we hate, thanks to the advanced skin-safe technology. It's waterproof and has a 400K LED spotlight for a more precise shave. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. It's waterproof and provides proprietary skin-safe technology which helps reduce those nasty nicks, snags, and tugs in your delicate nose holes. And the Crop Reviver, Crop Preserver, deodorant, ball toner will change the way you approach your hygiene routine. And trust me when I say this, fellas, your balls will thank you. Go get 20% off, free shipping, promo code CRPOD at manscaped.com. 20% off at manscaped.com. 20% off, free shipping, promo code CRPOD. Please support the show. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right. Perhaps more importantly than offensive style and how we're doing things offensively is defensively, right? All 4 of these teams are elite defensive teams. That's why I looked at them. There's no point in looking at the year the Warriors won when they were the first best offense by 1,000,000 points per 100 and like the 10th best defense. Who cares, right? That ain't the Celtics. We know that. So, defense. Let's talk about defense. Steals per game. Turnovers. Who's generating them? These are all eerily similar. The Raps, 9th. The Lakers, 8th. The mystery team, 5th. The Celtics, 9th. Weird. All right there. Turning people over at an above average rate, but not insane. Mystery team's up there. 5th's pretty damn good. Blocks per game, Raptors 9th. This is kind of all over the map. Mystery team's 9th. Lakers are 1st. AD blocks a lot of shots. They're just big. They're a big team, too. Lakers 1st. Mystery team 18th. Celtics 2nd. We know that. Rob and Al are swatting people out of the gym every game, so that shouldn't be super surprising. Derek White gets blocks. Tice gets blocks. Grant Williams once in a while Grant only gets like insane blocks that I guess they all look insane because he's just like such an interestingly shaped human that they all just look crazy. But I just feel like Grant has the craziest. It's like, how did he block this dude about to dunk? And then he gets shot over by a point guard. It just makes no sense. But hey, that's Grant for you. That is why we love him, especially here, Celtics Reddit Podcast and Spooney Show. We are huge Grant people. We always have been. All right, so those are kind of all over the map. I just don't think blocks really correlate much to good defense. They're helpful, no doubt, but you know, Hassan Whiteside's like led the league in blocks. He's one of the worst defensive players ever. I don't know, maybe not ever. That's a little harsh. I'm sorry, Hassan, but he's not a good defensive player. So, all right, defensive rebound percentage. I think it's important that you shut down possessions. You need to end possessions to have a great defense. Second chance points are easy money. High points per possession on putbacks. Unless you're Tristan Thompson, because he's a scrub. Okay. Defensive rebound percentage. What are we looking at? All pretty close. Mystery team's going to be first here. Raps 18th. Lakers 11th. Mystery team 9th. Celtics 16th. Okay. I mean, that's nothing crazy. There's no, like, nobody's 29th. Nobody's first. It's like they take care of the boards, but doesn't seem like you need to do that at an elite level. You just got to be pretty good at it, right? You just can't suck at rebounding. Okay, we don't. We're fine. We're average. That's good enough, I guess. Opponent second chance points. Again, same thing. Got to end possessions. Can't let people get these easy buckets. Now, this is interesting. Other than the Raps, all these teams are very elite at preventing second chance points. Very elite. So the one thing is maybe they're not the best at preventing you from getting a rebound. They do not make it easy for you to convert that into points. So kind of 6-1, half dozen the other in a lot of ways. But anyway, the Raps were 11th. Like, okay, fine. But the Lakers, 5th. Mystery team 6th. Celtics 5th. All basically top 5. Mystery team 6th. Work with me here. Top 5, basically. All right. So they're all elite at that. The Raps, not so much. And they're bad at defense. You know, they have the worst defensive rebounding percentage. So that was one way you could hurt these Raptors. They played the Warriors, who obviously aren't really a team to exploit that weakness. So maybe that's matchup dependent. I don't think Brooklyn is not a team that can exploit our 16th best defensive rebound percentage. So I'm not worried about it right now. Maybe we should when Milwaukee, hopefully we have a chance to play Milwaukee. If we do, maybe that's something we should watch. But in this matchup, I'm not super worried about it. But we're right in line with 2 out of the 3 of these contenders. So that's good. That's good. Okay. Opponent fast break points. Does it matter? So, you know, I said it's kind of weird. 2 of these were elite fast break teams on offense. Does it matter if you stop other teams on fast breaks? Doesn't seem to. I don't know. The Raps were 13th in opponent fast break points. So average at stopping the fast break. This is like lazy LeBron stat. This is such a lazy LeBron stat. The Lakers were 30th in stopping opponents from scoring on the fast. I mean, that is just such a fucking. What? Anyway, again, trying to be objective. But that is anyway. Mystery team's gonna grade out pretty well in these last few. First, in opponent fast break points, Celtics are 8th. That's pretty good. Second best behind the mystery team. So these last 2 things, I think, are by far the 2 most important metrics for grading out how good your defense is beyond just straight defensive rating, which is literally like how many points do you give up regulated for pace, right? So obviously that's the most important stat. But these two, I think, are the most important. Opponent points in the paint, how many points do you give up in the paint, and opponent 3-point field goal percentage, right? You want to limit points in the paint. You want to limit threes. You don't want people making threes, and you don't want them making layups. Two very important metrics to have an elite defense. So you will see that the two teams with the number one defenses are very good at these things. And the two teams with less good, but still pretty, top 5 defenses are good, but not elite. So the Raps, 9th best at giving up points in the paint. The Lakers, 8th best. Mystery team was first. And our Celtics, our beloved Celtics, were second. Okay. Interesting. Pretty good. Opponent 3-point field goal percentage. 18-19 Raps, 8th. 19-20 Lakers, 7th. Mystery team, best in the league, first. Celtics, best in the league, first. Basically, I think we were tied with 2 other teams, but it's still first, all right? Still technically first. Okay, so I think on balance, if you look at the totality, the Celtics look like these teams quite a bit. They look like some mix of these teams. If I had to say who they look the most like, I think I got to go with the mystery team. And here's why. That first in defensive rating for the mystery team was with a bullet. They were the best defensive team in the league pretty easily. The Celtics have been that for months and months now. And that 11th offensive rating for the mystery team feels right, like we were 9th. There's just something unique about when you're easily the best defense, as opposed to that Raptors team, which, they were the 3rd best offense. I don't know. I'm not sure we're that good offensively, but 5th defense, we're also a pretty big step above that. So, and the Lakers, they look kind of like us. The LeBron factor's weird when you're looking at a lot of these numbers. So if I had to say what team do we look most like, it's the mystery team. Although there are elements, especially of that Raptors, how that team was built, that the Gasol Horford parallels, not on offense, but defensively, the Siakam Rob off ball, chaos agent, Lowry Smart, everybody loves those parables. And then Jalen's just unique. He has Siakam's offense, really, and Rob does Siakam's defensive job. And obviously Tatum Kawhi, I think, is a pretty natural comparison. So Derek White and Norm Powell, high impact, bigger guys who come off the bench. There's a lot of similarities just in how we're built to that 18-19 Raptors team. But I think looking at our profile and how we do things, limiting points in the paint, limiting opponent threes, it really, taking a lot of threes, we look a lot like that mystery team. So I'm going to reveal who that mystery team is to you. It's the 2007-2008 Boston Celtics. I'm sure you probably guessed that, but it's the Celtics. Banner 17, banner 18. Let's do it. We're winning this thing. Hopefully it's not 0-2 by the time you listen to it. But that is all I got for you. The Celtics are a title contender this year. They look like several title contenders in the past, most notably our most recent title contender. Let's go. Go C's. Thanks for listening. I always appreciate the support. By Manscaped. Promo code CRPOD. Spooney out.